This is Sergio with Cageside Press. I am joined by PFL welterweight, 2019 PFL welterweight champion, Ray Cooper. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Last time we spoke, it was right in the middle of the pandemic, so things are kind of back to normal. You have a fight lined up. How does it feel to just kind of know that things are back to normal? It's got to be like a sense of relief.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out throughout this last year. I wanted to fight, and having the other promotions have all their fights like the UFC and the Bellator. Yeah, I was kind of getting itchy to fight, but it was a good layoff. I got to heal some things and spend time with my family.
In terms of the year on the personal side, what would you get up to? I hear you like dirt biking. Did you do a whole lot of that?
Yeah, I'm a real big fan of motocross and indoor racing, trail riding. So yeah, that's been mostly what I've been doing is riding dirt bike, spending time with my kids. My kids ride too, so yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Man, it's awesome. In terms of the pandemic and everything, how was your training? Because I know a lot of gyms here are shut down. What was it like in Hawaii?
It was perfect for me. I don't have a gym that I go to train. I train at home. I have my own gym, so and all my training partners is lives with me. So I didn't have nothing stopping me from training. So yeah, it was perfect for me.
That's awesome. Is it your close friends? Is it cousins? Is it brothers? Who's training with you day in and day out?
Mainly my brothers and my cousins and couple, probably like one or two. One of my two close friends that train with me. It's only people that I allow to train with. It's a close training session, so it's mainly family members.
In terms of motivation, I can only imagine it must be a lot harder to be motivated knowing you're not fighting for 12 months. Like, how did you, how did you find training? Did you tend to slack off a little bit, or was training, the same? And how did you stay motivated?
Yeah, I took a some time off. I would train off and on. My cousin was getting ready to fight, so I was helping him train, and yeah, he was probably the only one that was fighting at the time. Because my brothers are still amateurs, so he was just helping my cousin train, and yeah, I wouldn't, I wasn't too worried about it. I was fine. Financially, I was fine, so I just wanted to compete and fight. That was my main thing. I love to fight, and yeah, it didn't really affect me as much. But I was off and on training.
You got matched up with a relative unknown fighter for people here in North America. What was your thoughts when you got the news that you were facing Jason Monet?
Um, Nothing much. I really didn't know nothing about the guy, but it doesn't matter who I fight. I'm gonna fight everybody the same way. I don't underestimate anybody. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna try to put him away. It doesn't matter what he does. I really don't care. I really don't care about anybody I fight. So yeah.
There's a couple new names now to PFL. A couple of former UFC fighters, obviously the big name Roy McDonald. Is that do you find that that's a little bit more to prove now because you're coming in as a defending champion? You have these guys from other organizations coming in trying to take something that you've worked for. Do you feel like there's extra motivation there, knowing that these guys are coming in trying to take something you worked for?
No, I don't have no extra motivation. It's just another name that they put in front of in front on my desk, and yeah, it's just another name I gotta wipe out, and I really don't um think that he's a big challenge. I think his years has passed, and I think he slowed down a little bit, but he's still a great fighter. He's still in real technical, and I'm looking forward to facing him. But all in all, I'm gonna run through him if we ever meet.
Given your background, and I can only imagine life in Hawaii is the same way, as you're always fighting. Do you think because of that, the tournament format favors you because you don't really get to pick when you fight? You have to fight, even if you got like a sore leg or broken hand. You're forced to fight. Do you think that favors you, given the way that you were brought up?
Yeah. Being in the tournament these last couple years, I feel like I have more experience with that. The guys that's coming in, they take long layoffs during their fights. They're not fighting consistently. I had 10 fights within 2 years, so um, there's not many people that do that, and we're just gonna see how tough they are, if they can even last going through all these fights. We fight like within 4 to 6 weeks every between fights, so we're still gonna see. We're gonna see how tough these new guys coming in is, and if they can handle, and if they can't, they're gonna fall to the wayside.
When you see people like Kayla Harrison, who previously won the tournament, throughout that year off, she was able to go out and get a fight. Was that something that you were interested in? If that opportunity presented itself, because she competed for Titan FC, is that something that you would have done if you were given the opportunity?
Um, Within reason, I think yeah, I would have, but um, there's not many promotions that would be able to fight, let alone leave. I mean, fighting for another promotion when I'm still contracted to the PFL. And she was fighting with a women's league, and yeah, I think it would be different for if I was to fight in a different organization. I don't think PFL would allow me to do that, but yeah, it would be an enticing idea, but I'm fine where I'm at. Not many people get to fight for $1 million, so yeah, I'm good.
Throughout that break, like you said at the beginning, someone close to you, your cousin Kai Kamaka, was able to compete. How much did it mean to you to be able to see him go out and do his thing in the UFC? And in the first fight, he had tremendous success as well.
Yeah, that was an awesome accomplishment for him. He's been through some stuff with injuries and getting fights, and just it's hard for guys down that live in Hawaii fights, and especially to get off the island and fight. And yeah, I was just real happy for him and proud of him that he got to accomplish his goals and make his dream come true. Because we talked about it since we was kids, growing up throughout high school, talking about fighting in the UFC. At the time, UFC was the only thing that mattered to all fighters, and we would be talking about that in the UFC. And one day we're gonna fight in the UFC, and he got his opportunity, and I was so happy for him and proud of him.
I spoke to him last week actually, and he said you guys are fighting the same week, and he said the one thing I want is for Ray to be in my corner. And I know you were fighting a couple of days before, but how much would it mean to you to be able to get there and get to Kai's fight?
Yeah, I just I hope that I get to be in his corner, but it means a lot when we can have each other there. In Hawaii, it's family is everything, and family become is first no matter what. Um, and yeah, we love having each other. We grew up training together, competing down here at wrestling, and he was fighting in kickboxing shows, but mainly we would train together for wrestling. So we're very close, and our family is a very tight knit family.
Some other family members you have, like you mentioned, are your siblings. You have a sister who wrestles, some brothers who also wrestle and compete as an amateur. How important was it to have an entire family of fighters? Usually you hear maybe a sibling or two being interested, but it's very rare that you see an entire family, cousins, parents, and everybody. How much has that shaped you as both a person as well as a fighter?
I think it's the most defining thing that shaped me, because I watched my father and my uncle them, fight back in the day down here, and I don't know if you know Super Brawl.
Yeah.
It was Brawl at the time, and it was the pioneers of MMA period down in Hawaii, and at the time Super Brawl was like one of the biggest promotions. Guys like Randy Couture, Vitor Belfort, BJ Penn, mostly all the UFC fighters fought in Super Brawl, and um, watching my father fight in the Blaisdell was a big thing to me. And when I was that young, I used to watch them fight, and I knew I was gonna fight from the beginning. And so did my cousin them, and it was just a dream of ours, because seeing them when we were freaking only like it was only like 5 or 6, watching them fight in front of these big crowds, and we going to the fights. It was like it was like our dads was heroes to us. So yeah, it is a very big part of me.
As someone with 5 kids now, is that something that you can imagine your kids doing? And I'm sure it's going to be a lot different when you're watching your kids compete versus watching your dad. How are you? How are you prepared for that?
Yeah, I don't. I can't even imagine that now because the whole just with fighting in general and just the build up to it is it's a it's a very what's it called? It's a very puts pressure on you. But I do good in pressure, but just with other like my kids and they gotta work their way up to it. We're gonna start off wrestling first. They're gonna wrestle. That's the building blocks of my career and how I started. So we're gonna compete in wrestling for a little bit, and I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
I love it. I love it. Does it make it harder to travel when you have kids back home? Obviously, with the pandemic and everything, you've got to do the quarantine. Does it make it a lot harder knowing that you're leaving them behind for longer periods of time?
Yeah, it's very hard. I hate leaving my kids, and they mean everything to me. And yeah, I just. But when it comes down to it, it's business, and I gotta do what I gotta do for them. It's for them and for my family, and but it's a very challenging thing that I have to do. Especially I got 2 more kids, and they're infants now, and yeah, it's gonna be hard, but all in all, I know what I have to do, and it's just business.
I'll ask you one last question, and then I'll let you go. You've got a big tournament ahead of you. What can we expect from you coming into this tournament?
You can expect me knocking out everybody I face, and I'm gonna be the 2021 champion.
All right, man. I love that. I don't think there's a better way to end it. So thanks again for the time, man. I can't wait to watch you perform.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you for the time.